Hello, what is up guys? I'm here today, back with another Black Desert video. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the most recent patch that came to Black Desert on January 17th of 2024, going over all the events, as well as major changes, that way you don't miss a thing. This week's patch brings a couple of cool little events, bunch of tweaks and changes to the game, plus the major addition of the new anti-cheat software Xgincode being added into the game, so major system change right there. But yeah, quickly before we get into the video though, and go over all this stuff, if you're new to my channel, new to Black Desert, or you have been watching videos on the channel and still have not subscribed yet, please consider it. It helps to grow my channel, you stay up to date with new content, and we both win. And without further ado, let's get into it and start off with the events like we do every single week. And the first event is a Garmoth boss here, and you're gonna want to do Garmoth during the event period here. You have until February 14th, aka Valentine's Day, to complete and defeat the world boss Garmoth. Accept a quest from the same NPC that you pick up the quest from normally, right outside of the dude. So right outside of the world boss spawn, you got the NPC you can talk to. Killing Garmoth during this period is going to give you 250 crown stones, plus a bag with a bunch of free stuff in it, and in general, just awesome stuff. So over the next couple of weeks here, make sure you knock out the Garmoth world boss. Next up, we have some free Books of Old Moon being giving out, kind of like the Camisili Blessing event that was going on a few weeks ago. We now have a Blessing of the Old Moon book here one. This one, while you're out gathering or fighting monsters, a chest will spawn, interact with the chest, and you'll get a 2-hour buff of Book of Old Moon, which allows you to activate Villa Scrolls, you can activate bonus EXPs, tons of stuff here. So definitely really cool. If you're out grinding, make sure to interact with those boxes to get some bonus stuff. Next up, we have another Black Shrine here, bonus rewards for the Moon bosses this time around. For those of you that don't know what the Black Shrine is, top corner of your screen, you'll see the Black Shrine icon. You'll need to play through the Land of Morning Light in order to interact with it. And this time, the Moon bosses are featured here. Also, you'll notice on the UI, and I'll cover it in the actual patch notes themselves, but you can now teleport to the Black Shrine, so you don't need to have a character station out here to travel across the map. You can just teleport right to the boss that you want to fight, which is fantastic. Questline to start this event is in the Black Spirit section here. Quest tab, event, and you will see it. Moon Aura, Craving for Power. Now that's it as far as events are concerned with this patch, but we did have two sort of like announcement things as well that came. The first is the announcement of the completion of the event for donating items to Laura. If you remember, a few weeks back, we had an event where you would donate stuff, and then they were going to, if we hit a certain threshold of donations, donate a bunch of money to Doctors Without Borders, and they are pleased to announce that as a community, we more than doubled that target, so they have donated a bunch of money to Doctors Without Borders to aid in relief efforts around the world, so that's pretty nice right there, so nice little heartwarming story for you. Next is a more different story, and that is the addition of Xgincode3 to Black Desert. So, if you've played other MMORPGs before, or any other game really, you've probably run across this anti-cheat software before. It's met with mixed reviews. Some people claim it drastically reduces performance, others don't really care. So just something to keep in mind, the anti-cheat software has changed for Black Desert. It's now Xgincode3, so, you know, something to keep in mind there. But with all that out of the way, we can get into the patch notes themselves, and the patch brings a couple of cool things with it. So we already covered all the events, we can buzz through those and get on into the class changes. As far as the class changes goes, most of these are little tweaks or flow improvements to all the classes, make them a little bit easier to play, general improvements across the board, until we get down into the Mystic. And Mystic gets a lot of changes here to sort of, I don't want to say the identity of the kit, but makes it easier to play the kit in the Awakening side with the way that it handles its healing and whatnot from it. The Sage then got some significant changes to skills. First is the AP buff has been removed from the skill form shift, so a bit of a nerf on that side. We don't tend to see those too often, so definitely one to call out there. We also have increases on the cooldown for the skill Rift Chain, and then some slight number tweaks across the board here. So nothing like the huge rebalance changes that we saw a while back. They just appear to be some slight changes to skills. Going a bit further, we get out into the Corsair, which had some cooldown reductions, so some buffs to the Corsair side. Dracania got some flow ability improvements as well as scaling improvements, as well as a PvP nerf on the skill Flow Obliterate, and a couple of cooldown and scaling tweaks on Megu. So all in all, a bunch of little tweaks and scaling changes to the Ranger, Sorceress, Meiwa, Kunoichi, Ninja, Witch, Mystic, Sage, Corsair, Dracanian, Megu, and Scholar. So if you're playing any of those classes, you might want to look at the patch notes a bit more detailed there to pick out the changes directly. Jumping down into the content is one that I already touched on a little bit earlier here in the video, but we now have the ability to teleport directly to the shrine bosses here in the Black Shrine. So if you weren't doing this like me because you didn't want to go to the Land of Morning Light, now you don't really have an excuse now. You can just click the button, it'll teleport you there, teleports you back after you're done. The only limitation of this is that you can't do it from the Pit of Undying. So if you wanted to do Pit of Undying, you can't leave from there. So you just have to leave Pit of Undying and then go to that one instead. Now, next up, we have some minor tweaks to the trade life skill in Black Desert, and when I say minor tweaks, I mean they basically just undid the update that they spent forever working on and just released a couple months back, completely removed it from the game, so now the trade vendors no longer have anything that you can buy for trade items, and if you go to the life tab, there's no Old Moon letter here that tells you what's going to go up and down in price, because trading has been essentially removed, except for doing like your Imperial Box trading type stuff, or your crate trading, or those types of tradings that you can do. So the one that involves you like buying and selling from NPCs, the big rework that came out a few months ago, completely removed from the game, which brings me to the next section of this video, where I share you guys my super secret method for coming up with videos and making videos on the channel. What you do is you create it and put it on your list of videos that you're going to make, and then wait for them to take it out of the game so you don't have to make that video. Problem solved. Trade rework video, done. Joking aside, they're going to come up with a new system that's more, I guess, useful, beneficial, takes more advantage of the game, blah, 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 blah. So it's nice to see them go back and say, you know what, we can probably do better, or come up with something cooler or something like that. Always like it when Perlibus realizes things and tries to make them better. So it's not a sign of something bad. It's a sign that the company cares about the game and wants us to have fun with it. So definitely a positive one there. Now moving on from the trade life skill, we get into the gathering life skill, and for this one they are simplifying the number of tools for the gathering system. So the generic tools and whatnot that you could buy from various NPCs are being replaced essentially with all these magical tools, and the magical tools can be crafted at the workshops, and the vendors also have just more generic versions of tools as well. So less tools that you have to keep track of for your various gathering activities, ultimately making it a little bit easier to get into it as a newer player. Do note that the best in slot is still going to be the Manos. It's not like they're adding those or removing those. It's still Manos, still the best thing to get. Just for those of you first getting into it, making it a little easier to pick it up and start trying it. Weapon and armor reform stones that had grades 1 through 3 are now being condensed down into just singular reform stones, the ultimate version. So a little, reduction to items in your inventory, making it a little easier to manage those different things. And then beyond that, guys, not a ton of other crazy stuff with this patch. So, like I said, not a big one. Just some cool events that you want to take advantage of have some nice, awesome rewards, Xgincode change, and some class tweaks. So, that's going to be for the video. Now's your turn to let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Excited for anything in this patch? Any thoughts on the Xgincode change? Let me know down below. Anyway, with that, thank you all so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you at the next YouTube video, the next Twitch live stream, or wherever I happen to see you. Peace.